blood, my potentials, my prospects, my admirers, my... Yes, you need anything else? Or he's only, he can't see anything else, you know? Everything is only if it fits into the little screen of my sense gratification, and he goes, Then he awakens and he throws himself into any type of direction, but otherwise he can't take notice of anything. He can't even take notice if his mother is crying at home because he's smoking drugs. I'm high. You're so high that your mother is crying. That's a very good high, huh? High in illusion. So it's like something, when you are really eager to share the greatest treasure of existence, then you want to sincerely speak your heart. And if you feel that you have not found anything, then you have to keep your eyes wide open. Keep your eyes wide open to see when and where you find the sadhu. Find somebody who's fired up about doing something good for this world. Not one of these conquistors who just want to make the world a place of their pleasure. So there are such idealists. There are such genius, wonderful people who are ready to go out of their way to accommodate others and help them in their spiritual path. When you meet such a person, you're lucky. I'm very lucky, I tell you. I met so many of them. And I don't feel disheartened, and I don't feel that I'm exaggerating either. I'm not making a show. After I met Srila Prabhupada, that was really the first outstanding person in my life, because he was really what he was saying. He was that person he was presenting. A devotee of the truth, a devotee of love, a devotee of God, a devotee with an assignment and ready to do it, not one step back, not even to get more momentum, just ahead, ahead, ahead. All is in the hands of Krishna anyway. And then when he left, when he went back to Krishna, then we were kind of thrown back. Very difficult moment to be deprived of such a caring person who always looks after you and makes sure you get engaged, who works day and night for you. I mean, which father and mother is working day and night for their child? Yeah, the mothers do in the beginning, when you're really small. But we saw Prabhupada working for his children day and night, all day, and for all of them, indiscriminately. He even worked for the whole planet, even though the planet didn't know it. Until now they have not understood who was Srila Prabhupada, who walked amongst us on this planet like apparently a normal human being. They didn't catch it. So he worked even at the very dead of night. And then he was gone, so then how are you going to substitute him? Impossible, no? You may think. As a matter of fact, when Mahaprabhu left this planet, Sri Raghunathas Goswami was an intimate associate of his. He's one of the 6 Goswamis, and he said, when Mahaprabhu left, and my Swarup Damodar, his guru, also left, I wanted to kill myself. He said, I could not consider living anymore. Being deprived of the Supreme Lord's personal association, and now what? What am I going to do in this place? It's horrible. They're not going to come. So he said, but before I'm going to kill myself, I have to go to Vrindavan, because I haven't seen Vrindavan yet. So he wanted to say, then he went to Vrindavan, and later he wrote in his books, he says, I met my Mahaprabhu and Nityananda again, and I met my Swarup Damodar again. They were living there. They were living there in Rupa and Sanatana Goswami. And he found Mahaprabhu himself living in his devotee and going on with his message. And it was only then when he started doing his intimate writings. They were done in Vrindavan. So they came out later. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu revealed through that story in Chaitanya Charitamrita that you may meet another sadhu again. So we met that. We met Srila Bhakti Rakshita Maharaj the most extraordinary sadhu and beloved of all the Vaishnavas. What a unique personality was he, Sridhar Maharaj. The same teachings of Srila Prabhupada, but in a special personal touch. As a matter of fact, Srila Maharaj was giving things we never heard before. Of course, in essence not, but in extensions, yes. There's an unlimited amount, you know. It's just amazing. The philosophy doesn't have an end. It is purnam, it is full. So there'll always be new things which fit in perfectly and you never knew they existed. So you never have to be worried, oh, now I know it all and that's it, and now it's going to become stale and pale. No, never. Krishna conscious, not. And preaching, never. So we heard Sridhar Maharaj and we couldn't believe our ears. Says, how could somebody say the same philosophy even more beautiful? Now, you don't think that's an offense to Srila Prabhupada. It's not. It's just a question. He's the greatest poet. And same experience you have when you read Walter Eidlitz in German. There's no writer in the Vaishnava world who writes about Krishna in German language as Walter Eidlitz. All those translators, they can't hold up a lamp to his writing. So there he is, and that's another thing. Why should I not recognize it? This is not an offense to the translators of Prabhupada's books, where they did whatever they could, no? But it's like that. There's more and more. And then, after Sridhar Maharaj left this world in 1988, 11 years after Prabhupada, then the most amazing thing happened. Another great personality showed up. As a matter of fact, he was already there, but he was discovered at that verge of need, of the urgency, and that was Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj. And he went out of his way to do things like starting the World Vaishnava Association with his personal support. And he was so kind and he was so unique. Every individual is unique, you know. Krishna has, we all look alike, but we are all individual, no? Krishna surely doesn't get bored. So, this is something so wonderful that we saw in Srila Puri Maharaj, another great soul, giving us shelter, giving us life, giving us grace and patience. And to tell you the truth, I had with Srila Puri Maharaj so much association, most intimately, like hours in his room alone with him, which I never had with Srila Maharaj that long. Forget about Srila Prabhupada, you know. He was surrounded by an army of people, you know. You just to get in there. I remember once he came from Brazil with one devotee, and we finally made it to Mayapur, like half around the world, going nuts, you know. And finally reaching Mayapur, and when we reached Mayapur, then there was Prabhupada sitting in a room more or less the size of this, and he was surrounded. It was so cracked, full. And we were like in the door, just glimpsing over a few devotees. Oh my God, you know. And then some silly secretary had the idea of closing the door. To not disturb Prabhupada with this crowd of people. So then Prabhupada looked at us and he saw in our eyes the desperation. That, oh, they're going to be close. So Prabhupada was so kind to tell his secretaries who were there, move together. And then he had us sit there. So he was so accommodating, you know. In the midst of all that, he saw this desperation in our eye, and after having come around the world and see the Guru, finally they're going to close the door in your nose, you know. And so he said, make you sit down. And then, of course, we were in the spiritual world, no? I'm personally invited to sit there right at the feet of Srila Prabhupada. So Srila Prabhupada, he was so concerned with everyone, despite his major task of tackling so many disciples in so many circumstances, amazing. And Srila Puri Maharaj, we got him like almost like at a time where he only had 3 disciples. So he had time. Not so much because his sadhana was intense, you know, but nevertheless he had time. And so we got some of that time. Very lucky, no? But you had to look for it. It just didn't come by itself. You had to go and get it.